ירון לישינסקי ושרה לין מילגרים, שני צעירים, נציגים של מדינת ישראל, נרצחו לפני מספר שעות בפיגוע טרור מזעזע בוושינגטון. ירון ושרה נרצחו בכנס יהודי של ה-AJC. שוחחתי הבוקר עם דניאל, אביו של ירון. אמרתי לו שבנו היה לוחם במערכה המדינית ונפל כפי שנופל חייל בחזית הקרב. תנחומיי למשפחותיהם, כמו גם לעובדי שגרירות ישראל בוושינגטון. זוהי התוצאה הישירה של הסתה אנטישמית ארסית ורעילה שמתנהלת מאז 7 באוקטובר נגד ישראל ויהודים ברחבי העולם. בתקופה האחרונה אנחנו עדים לגל שלא היה כמותו של פיגועים וניסיונות לפיגועים נגד נציגויות ישראל בעולם, בדגש על אירופה. נציגויות ישראל ונציגי ישראל ברחבי העולם הם מטרה לטרור אנטישמי שחוצה את כל הקווים האדומים. דיברתי על כך לא מזמן ביום הזיכרון בטקס לנופלים בשירות החוץ. כל החודשים האחרונים חרדתי שדבר כזה יקרה, וזה קרה. הרשימה הזאת ערכה היום. אנחנו במשרד החוץ ובכל נציגויות ישראל בעולם נוריד היום את הדגל לחצי התורן בעקבות רצח העובדים שלנו. הביע היום גם עם עובדי משרד החוץ, עם הדיפלומטים שלנו שנאבקים בתנאים לא פשוטים בחזית המדינית. אני גאה לעמוד בראש המערכת הזאת. הם משרתים את המדינה, מזוהים עם המדינה, מסמלים את המדינה. הם סופגים התקפות ומילים קשות ורעילות. היום 2 מהם ספגו את כדורי הטרוריסט. קו ישיר מחבר בין ההסתה האנטישמית והאנטי-ישראלית לרצח הזה. הסתה הזאת כוללת גם דוברים רשמיים של מדינות רבות ושל ארגונים בינלאומיים, ובפרט באירופה. המילים שהן עלילות הדם המודרניות המופצות נגדנו, על ג'נוסייד כביכול, פשעים נגד האנושות והריגת תינוקות, הן מכשירות את הדרך למעשי הרצח האלה. זו האווירה בעולם שהפכה דם יהודי וישראלי להפקר. זה מה שקורה כשמנהיגים בעולם נכנעים לתעמולת הטרור והכזב הפלסטינית ומשרתים אותה. הצהרות וההתקפות שמאשימות את ישראל במקום את החמאס, שהתחיל במלחמה ב7 באוקטובר, והוא גם האחראי הבלעדי להתמשכותה, והוא גם נושא באופן בלעדי באחריות לסבל שנגרם לישראלים ולפלסטינים כאחד. אני אומר היום, הם מנהיגים בעולם שנסחפו למחוזות האלה. חידלו מההסתה נגד ישראל. חידלו מההאשמות השקריות. חזקו את ישראל במערכה ההיסטורית שנכפתה עליה נגד ציר הרשע במזרח התיכון. שוחחתי מספר פעמים הבוקר עם שגרירנו בארצות הברית, דוקטור יחיאל לייטר. אני מודה לו על האופן שבו הוא מייצג אותנו בארצות הברית, וברגעים אלה גם על האופן שבו הוא מחזק את עובדי השגרירות. שוחחתי גם עם חברנו היקר, שגריר ארצות הברית בישראל, מייק הקבי. השגריר הקבי עדכן אותי בחקירה המאומצת שמנהלות מספר רשויות ממשל לגבי פשע טרור זה. הגורמים הבכירים ביותר במערכת אכיפת החוק האמריקנית מלווים מקרוב את החקירה. אנו מעריכים זאת. טרור רודף אותנו בכל מקום, אבל אנחנו לא ניכנע לטרור. ישראל מצויה מה7 באוקטובר במערכה רב-זירתית מול מבקשי נפשה, שמטרתם השמדת המדינה היהודית היחידה. אנחנו, שנשבענו לעולם לא עוד, לא נאפשר לזה לקרות. זו הזדמנות ראויה להודיע על הוועידה נגד אנטישמיות שנוביל כאן בירושלים באמצע השבוע הבא כחלק מהנשיאות הישראלית של איירה. בוועידה השתתפו שרי חוץ ושרים אחרים של מדינות חברות באיירה, שליחים נגד אנטישמיות וגם נציגי קהילות יהודיות ממדינות אלה. האנטישמיות החדשה מלבלבת היום גם בקמפוסים, באקדמיה, בכלי התקשורת, ברשתות החברתיות. אנו מחויבים להיאבק בה בכל כוחנו, ואנו מודים לשותפים שיש לנו בעולם למאבק זה. לעם ישראל כולו, אני אומר הבוקר, זקפו את ראשכם. אין אומה בעולם שהייתה עומדת בעוז רוח, במסירות נפש ובעוצמה במה שאנחנו עברנו ועדיין עוברים. בואו נשתדל לחזק את האחדות בינינו כדי להמשיך ולעמוד בהצלחה במערכה ההיסטורית שנכפתה עלינו. לנצח ישראל לא ישקר. Yaron Lishinsky and Sarah Lynn Milgram, two young representatives of the State of Israel, were murdered a few hours ago in an horrific terrorist attack in Washington. My condolences go to their families and to the staff of the Israeli embassy in Washington, D.C. I spoke this morning with Daniel, Yaron's father. I told him that his son was a warrior on our diplomatic front that felt just like a soldier in the battlefield. Yaron and Sarah were murdered at the Jewish conference of the AJC. This is the direct result of toxic, anti-Semitic incitement against Israel and Jews around the world that has been going on since the October 7th massacre. Recently, we have witnessed an unprecedented wave of terror attacks and attempts against Israeli missions around the world with an emphasis on Europe. Israeli missions and representatives around the world are targets of anti-Semitic terrorism that has crossed all red lines. I spoke about this recently on our Remembrance Day at the ceremony for fallen Foreign Service members. I have been worried for the past few months that something like this would happen. And it did. And the list of fallen Foreign Service members has grown today. The Foreign Ministry in Jerusalem and Israeli missions around the world will lower our flags to half-mast following the murder of our workers. My heart today is also with the employees of the Foreign Ministry. They are struggling daily with difficult conditions on the diplomatic front. I am proud to lead these devoted people. They serve the country, are identified with the country, symbolize the country. They are subjected to harsh and poisonous attacks and wars. Today, 2 of them were shot by a terrorist. There is a direct line connecting anti-Semitic and anti-Israeli incitement to this murder. This incitement is also done by leaders and officials of many countries and international organizations, especially from Europe. The words are the modern blood libels. These libels about genocide, crimes against humanity, and murdering babies paved the way exactly for such murders. The global atmosphere has engaged Israeli and Jewish blood, has endangered Israeli and Jewish blood. This is what happens when leaders in the world surrender to the Palestinian terrorist propaganda and serve it. The statements and attacks blame Israel instead of Hamas. Hamas started the war on October 7th, is solely responsible for the war's continuation, and is solely responsible for the suffering of Israelis and Palestinians alike. I say today to these leaders and officials, stop your incitement against Israel. Stop your false accusations. Strengthen Israel in its historic battle against excess of evil in the Middle East. I spoke several times this morning with our ambassador to the United States, Dr. Yehiel Leiter. I thank him for how he represents us in the United States. I thank him also today for the way he is supporting the embassy employee in these moments. I also spoke with our dear friend, the U.S. Ambassador to Israel, Mike Huckabee. Ambassador Huckabee updated me on the intensive investigations underway by several government agencies into this act of terrorism. The most senior officials in the American law enforcement system are closely monitoring this investigation. We appreciate this. Terrorism is chasing us everywhere, but we will not surrender to terrorism. Since October 7th, Israel has been engaged in a battle on multiple fronts. We are fighting against those whose goal is the elimination of the Jewish state. We who swore never again will not allow this to happen. This is an opportunity to announce a conference against antisemitism that we will lead in Jerusalem next week, part of Israel's presidency of the International Holocaust Remembrance Alliance. The conference will be attended by foreign ministers and other ministers of IHRA member states. It will also include envoys for combating antisemitism and representatives of Jewish communities from these countries. The new antisemitism is also rising today on campuses, in the media, and on social networks. We are committed to fighting it with all our might. We thank the partners we have in the world for this fight. The Israeli people, I say this morning, hold your heads high. No other nation would have stood with such a courage, dedication, and resilience in what we have been through and are still going through during this last year and a half. Let us try to strengthen the unity among us so that we continue to stand successfully in the historic struggle that has been forced upon us. Am Yisrael Chai.
Thank you, Foreign Minister. We'll now take a few questions. Yes, please. The microphone is coming.
Thank you, Foreign Minister Dov Lieber with the Wall Street Journal. A few questions. One, can you give us a little more details about the event where the two victims were killed? What was the event about exactly? Two, do we know if the shooter was working alone? Was there any connection to any other organization? We know Iran, for example, has tried to target Israeli embassies around the world. Do you see any connection there? And lastly, I hear from Israelis, they don't feel safe in Israel, and they don't feel safe anywhere else in the world, anywhere they go. Why do you think particularly Israelis don't feel safe anywhere in the world? Why in this particular situation for the Israeli people?
The answer for your second question is anti-Semitism. The answer for your first questions must be given by American authorities and not by me, because they are holding this investigation, and I'm sure they will accurately report about it.
Please.
Thank you. Clémence Dibou for BFM TV, French TV. The French government, the British government, the Canadian government, they denounce, I quote, scandalous politics about Israel. Is that something that could lead to this kind of violent action?
think I said very clear things, so I'm just I can't repeat things I said in Hebrew and English, but you are
But you didn't mention,
invited. You are invited to rewind.
but you didn't mention any country. So, like, I'm French. So, do you think that the French government participates to that atmosphere?
Rewind.
Yes, please. There.
Mike Schwartz from CNN. Are you worried that this kind of event is going to be happening all around the world now? That we've gone over, that a red line has been crossed?
First of all, I'm very worried, and I want to tell you that during the last months and weeks, we had a couple of incidents in several embassies. Some of them even was not reported, mainly in Europe. And of course, and I've said 3 weeks ago, in our Memorial Day, that we will have challenging days, and I refer to this issue exactly in the continuation of the current wave of antisemitism. Will continue to expose Jews around the world, Israelis around the world, and mainly representatives of Israel around the world to terror actions. So the answer is I'm very worried.
James, please.
Thanks. James Shuttleton, the FT. Do you have any figures on how many attacks on embassies or embassy staff there have been since October the 7th, or for this year?
I'm sure that the spokesperson can collect the data and deliver it to the journalists. But I'm saying there is no 1 week without a terror attacks or attempts to terror attacks around the world, and usually more than one.
And the second question is, can you give details of the roles that the two victims had at the embassy?
עדים שלהם בשגרירות.
יוסי, אתה רוצה להתייחס? בבקשה, תקום תגיד.
Mission organizer.
Can you say which ones? Which is which? Yeah.
The guy is a research assistant with the political department at the embassy, and the second one, the lady, she was organizing missions and visits to Israel.
So there, two of them were staff members.
Yeah, of course.
Yes, please. The microphone is making its way.
Thank you very much. I mean, so neither of them were kind of accredited diplomats in is it?
And Israeli staff.
Right. Thank you.
First of all, you keep saying that you recognize a rise in the number of diplomatic attacks. Are you planning to limit the movement of Israeli diplomats across the globe? And can you confirm that the security have told the Israeli representative across the U.S. not to attend any event, including the Jewish community, even not to go to a synagogue in the coming days? And are you planning to change the way Israeli diplomats are operate around the world? And I do want to ask you, you keep saying for world's leader, stop the incitement. But when they're saying Israel, mainly after the Prime Minister's press conference yesterday, Israel is offering the same, more destruction, more death. What do you tell them? Actually, the call was Israel offer more. Same thing.
Not offer. I don't think it will be constructive to repeat here on anti-Semitic libels. That's for your second question. With regard to the first one, I'm keeping the instructions on security instructions for those who are responsible for that, usually and specifically for now, and that is something that monitored all the time. And when there are needs for different or new instructions, it is given. By the way, it's not my decisions, it's decisions of those who are responsible for the security.
Okay.
Just-
We are moving on. Last question. Yes, please.
פעם שנייה, סיבוב שני.
No.
אוקיי.
James Mackenzie from Reuters. Could you just tell us whether, it's a very, tense climate internationally over lots of issues, the Gaza war, anti-Semitic attacks, and so on. Can you say whether there is any sort of concrete contact with countries, in Europe, say, about, between Israeli authorities and European authorities about what can be done in response to these kind of incidents, beyond the sort of political atmosphere there is?
There is contact, and I can say that there is a concern in European countries and for security threats, and steps are taken from time to time. But what is lack, I feel, is the connection between the atmosphere created in specific words and this kind of wave of anti-Semitism we are facing. And again, I want to mention, war is something very tough, very bad. Images from war, as far as I know, are never pleasant. But the question is, who is responsible for this war? Who initiated this war? Who is responsible for the continuation of this war? Who is causing the suffering also of the Palestinians? And the answer is on the images that are rarely being seen on Western screens, including during the last days, of brave demonstrators in Gaza that go to the street, risking themselves, shouting, "Hamas out, bring them back their hostages because we want to finish the war." But this is ignored. So who is responsible for this war? Who is more of the same, Lady Channel 12. More of the same is something that the terrorists offers for their people and for us. For us, elimination. For their people, continuation of suffering. This is the more of the same we are looking for.
Okay.
תודה רבה לכם.
Thank you.
תודה שבאתם.
Thank you.